Hello, resident Playboy Cardi fan here, and today we started new. No longer will a stupid plushie talk shit about me, and no longer will I play terrible games. To begin my journey, however, I need to start with a PS2 classic, Devil May Cry. Now, of course, after I beat Devil May Cry, I will have to play its sequels. Fuck. Devil May Cry, or as cool people call it, DMC, is a hack-and-slash action game developed and published by Capcom. Capcom is known for many games like Cancer Man, Street Fighter, Monster Hunter, and their biggest franchise, Resident Evil.
Yup, this is it. The Duke said he's
Capcom started development for Resident Evil 4, and they wanted to focus more on the gameplay side of things than the horror side of things. So the first build of the game focused more on the action, but it focused a little too hard. The build was just too different from their previous Resident Evil games. It strayed way too far from the survival horror elements of previous Resident Evil games, so Capcom scrapped it. Or that's what I would be saying. But Capcom, being the cost-effective nerds they are, reworked the game into Devil May Cry, with the story being changed to have some demon shit and making the protagonist a character that everyone wants in Smash Bros. Except for Sakurai himself. Devil May Cry made itself a pretty hyped-up title. Combine that with the 2001 release date, and you got a success on your hands. Devil May Cry would be a massive critical and commercial success, selling over 3 million copies and receiving a 94 out of 100 on Metacritic, citing universal acclaim. Nowadays, the game is still loved for its fun and fast-paced gameplay, and a story with more corn than a field out in Iowa. But I haven't played it until now, so let's see if Devil May Cry will make me cry or make me die.
Still playing games. You don't even help with bills. You need to get a job. I come home every day crying. We're gonna lose the house. Where are the cats gonna go? Jordan, for real.
We open to a young male who has already lost his hair color. That's just so sad. This is Dante, who of course is a badass. Dante in Devil May Cry is pretty much just a badass half human, half demon, but honestly, that's all he needs to be. I don't need a deep, emotional, well-written protagonist, I just want to feel like a badass, and Dante accomplishes that in spades. Anyways, we get another customer here at Devil May Cry, and this customer just so happens to be a Karen, and let's just say, shit goes down. After she nearly kills me, she tells me that she's not here to hurt me. Sure, lady, whatever you say. Anyways, her name is Trish, and her little attack here was just a test, and of course I got a 10 out of 10 because I'm just a god gamer. She tells me that the Demon Emperor Mundus, who Dante blames for the death of his family members, is trying to cross into the real Earth. So of course, Dante, being the Giga Chad he is, decides to help with Trish. And we arrive at the castle, and of course, Trish immediately fucks off. So yeah, that's great. And from here on, we are alone, and this is where we get to experience the main highlight of Devil May Cry, the combat. DMC has always been known to have flashy and fun combat, where your goal isn't just killing your enemy, it's absolutely dunking on them. And in my opinion, they struck gold on their first attempt, because Devil May Cry has super solid combat. Dante has access to his swords and guns. His sword, or in this case the Alistair, is used by pressing triangle. Mashing the button will give you the most basic combo, but mixing up the timings will allow you to use different combos that do more damage. You can also use the air launcher to launch your enemies up in the air and continue to wail on them. Ebony and Ivory are the guns you see here and are very useful at extending combos and keeping enemies at bay while you charge up your Devil Trigger. The Devil Trigger is super powerful. Devil Trigger makes you deal more damage and slowly gain health, as well as give you access to special skills. Using Alistair with Devil Trigger allows you to use air raids and other aerial attacks. These can deal massive damage to grounded enemies and aerial ones. However, there are other weapons. Ifrit is the third melee weapon you get, and while not as fast as the Alistair, it makes up with that with its absolutely incredible power. These boys deal a lot of damage, but to be honest, I just kind of forgot about them and continue to use the Alistair because, I mean, who doesn't love to do this? Now, of course, there are also ranged weapons. I already mentioned Ebony and Ivory, which are the most versatile and fastest attacking range weapons. Now, there's also a shotgun, but me, being the fucking stupid brainlad I am, never got an Ignition 2. So I can't really comment on it. The grenade launcher is a ranged weapon and deals massive damage. but has extremely slow fire rate and end lag. But if you dodge roll after the animation, you skipped all end lag and can fire another shot, which is super broken. I believe this also works with the shotgun, but like I said, I'm a brainlet. Now with all these weapons, you must believe that they will allow you to freely switch between them, so you can experiment with all the cool weapons. So for some reason, you can't switch weapons mid-combo, and instead are forced to open the menu to switch. Now there is this quick switch button, but you still can't do it mid-combo, and you also have to cycle through all the weapons in order to get to the one that you want. Overall, it makes the game way more like Dark Souls. Instead of doing crazy combos, it's more about dodging hits and dealing small combos to build up Devil Trigger. The game is also extremely difficult, with enemies dealing crazy amounts of damage to you. Another reason the game is very hard is because of the camera. All the camera angles here are fixed, which feels like a relic of its Resident Evil origins. These camera angles are fine during exploration and puzzle solving, but during combat they are, well... Look at this. Oh wait, you can't because the camera has to slowly move to the correct angle. Meanwhile, the boss absolutely rails on you. You can't get used to the camera angles, but no matter how you slice it, they are not optimal. Now, another relic of the Resident Evil origins is its castle atmosphere. The game has a very gothic and horror vibe all around it. The enemies are disturbing or just flat out horror. Like, look at this nightmare boss and these Pinocchio looking ass creatures. The environments are extremely creepy and have very good detail, especially for a 2001 PS2 game. Like, these graphics are so damn good for a very early PS2 game. The graphics and animations have aged very well and generally look very clean. Now, you know what hasn't aged well? This voice acting.
I should have saved you. I should have been the one to
die in a fucking fire.
Anyways, back to the plot, where I make it way through this castle before getting fucked up by this sword. Dante is such a great protagonist, if I didn't already mention. His one-liners and trash talk is just so great. Hopefully in the sequel, they build upon his badassery even more. After pulling out the sword, I continue to move along before encountering this spider, who I definitely did not get stuck on. After clamping this spider back to its hole, I navigate upwards. I solve some puzzles before encountering this phantom dog. Anyways, after pulling a Michael Vick, I start climbing up this massive tower. After climbing this massive tower, I encounter Neo Angelo. So the Neo Angelo boss fight starts, and I get hit immediately. For some reason, almost all the bosses in this game immediately try to hit you before you can even react. It's just a cheap way of increasing the game's already hard difficulty, and I don't believe it's a good way to increase it. After getting fucking pounded by him, I decided to just actually use the Devil Trigger and deal massive damage, and oh my god! Neo Angelo is the perfect boss to show you how important managing your Devil Trigger is. Dodge his attacks and taunt every few attacks will also allow you to get Devil Trigger and regain your health and deal massive damage. After putting Neo Angelo in the dumpster, I continue to move along this castle and enter the sewer place. Then I fight this stupid ghost. I spent so many attempts trying to beat this thing, and then I bought Air Raid. Air Raid is very good, and if you don't get it, good luck. Anyways, in the sewer there is a secret mission. There are plenty of these things throughout the entire game, but I never did them. Now I recommend you do play them because the extra red orbs are very useful, but I was trying to beat this game kind of fast to make this video, so yeah, I'll do better next time. There are also tons of secret blue orb fragments all across the castle, and so I also recommend searching around for them. So after some time, I beat the sewer and I beat the mission. I return to the bedroom and interact with this mirror thing again, which leads to a rematch of the phantom fight. This time, guess what I did? Spam Devil Trigger. Anyways, the next boss is Griffin, who I destroy using the grenade launcher and air raid. Mission 10 contains this miss puzzle. Simply just follow the light and defeat some enemies and you should be good. Some more random enemies and we reach the rematch of Neo Angelo. He has more health this time, but I also have a grenade launcher, so I think we're even. But once again, I prevail by giving him the Chris Brown treatment. Next up, we get a first-person underwater shooting section.
Look, here's the thing.
Fine. Listen,
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded.
Like, these sections aren't bad, but like, damn, why do they exist? You have to stay still and lock onto the enemy just to shoot them, and like, why? If you ever feel worthless, just remember the underwater first-person shooter sections in Devil May Cry for PS2 exist. So after some swimming, we reach the second Griffin fight, and the same strategy applies here. Just fire a grenade launcher and you should be good. I get the Staff of Hermes and navigate through the pussy before escaping the ship. Some more exploring, and I finally get to the Colosseum where we receive a third Griffin fight. I treat the Griffin like I treat my room. I don't. Anyways, I unlock the Nightmare Bee weapon and fight the Nightmare. The Nightmare is a really interesting boss, as you need to target the orb on the back of its body. Now this boss forces you to hit these circles. The issue is this boss will send out these little shits, which will try to attack you. And if you remember, this game has an auto lock-on feature. So imagine you're trying to turn on the circle to open up its orb, but instead Dante just targets the little shits. It's super annoying. But once you turn on the rings, the boss is fine, because if you remember, we do have air raid. After clapping his cheeks, I move on to... Fuck off, Neo Angelo! Thus begins the final Neo Angelo fight. And, oh, there he goes. To be fair, he is a foot taller than last time, so... Hey, that's neat. So yeah, Neo Angelo is Virgil, the brother of Dante. Crazy. So anyways, I get the final weapon, Sparta, which is super strong, but it doesn't allow for double trigger. So I really don't care. Next up is a rematch against Nightmare, which is pretty much the same as the first fight. We now reach the end of the game, and enter Hell. In Hell, I suffer against the third fight against Nightmare because holy shit, this camera sucks. Like, why is it like this? It sucks ass, man, and I can't see shit. Anyways, Trish betrays us. No, why did Trish have to do that? What am I gonna do? I platform through Hell and fight these electric bats and stupid demon things. This wiggly creatures are so dumb, like... Why do they do so much damage? Alright, mission 22. The final boss against Mundus, the god of the underworld. Dante does some trash talk and Mundus says some demon shit before Trish tries to fight him and fails miserably. Before we talk about the final boss, I think it's time for me to talk about the story. So obviously the voice acting is shit. But what about the actual plot? It's pretty mid. Dante wants to avenge his mom and brother as Mundus killed or made them into a boss fight. I think this is a fine motivation, but Triss is just so mid. Like, she tells Dante to come to the castle and then dips for the whole game and only shows up at the very end of the game. Yet Dante still tries to save her because she looks like his mom. And after she dies, Dante has to kill Mundus, she just comes back alive? Like, why? Because Dante filled her dark soul with light? Because Dante filled her dark soul with cum? Like, I don't understand. It really makes zero sense. Whatever the case might be, the story is mid with a lot of corny moments. But honestly, I don't care, as the cutscenes and gameplays are cool enough to keep me playing. And it's Devil May Cry. I don't really expect a masterpiece of a storyline. Anyways, back to Mundus, which starts a Star Fox-ass shooting section. It's fun, but weird as the final boss. Like, shouldn't they test your actual combat skills for the rest of whatever, they had a first-person underwater shooting section, it doesn't matter. The second phase, however, is on the ground, and after some platforming, we get to wail on him with double trigger. So after Mundus gets clapped, we get Trash, the cutscene, and we have to escape. Mundus comes back, bullshit happens, and I fly this plane to some shit voice acting. So that's Devil May Cry, a game that has aged very well. The gameplay has held up very well. It's fun, addicting, and rewarding. Great progression with some light puzzle solving also makes the gameplay really fun. The graphics and music is also great, but the story is, well, mid, which is why Devil May Cry will be receiving the unwary Raisin Canes out of 10. Anyways, I have to go buy my erectile dysfunction pills, so I'll be back.
Randall, I trust you. Do you trust me?
I guess.
Good, because my quest for souls always seems to be ruined by some asshole who eats Arby's.
Then he must not be an idiot then.
Great. Now the power shall be yours. I'm gonna go eat Arby's now. See ya.
Yeah, I guess. See you soon.
Hello, Jade. What the hell, bro? What the hell?
I've come to help you.
Wait, don't panic. I'm not some. Why
Pokemon or something like that.
So why are you here?
I'm here to help you.
So why are you here then?
I'm here to help you. Well, I'm here to keep the order, and it seems like that jackass Death really wants to put you in hell, which I just can't have.
Wait a minute. Death? Dragonite mentioned it. Is he trying to kill me?
Yeah, dumbass, but keep working like normal. If he notices something is off, then he'll get suspicious, and then I won't be able to gather any more information.
Alright then, I'll see you soon.